So if you've seen Severance, you already know it's not just another binge-worthy show. It's a total psychological rabbit hole diving into the big themes like identity, trauma, and emotional survival. I am a former therapist and now a psychiatric epidemiologist, and I'm here to take you on a deep dive into the psychological layers of Severance. The show is an absolute treasure trove of themes like identity, trauma, and how we cope with emotions. Today we'll break down the concept of identity and how it relates to these characters and themes in the show. Let's see what makes Severance such a fascinating and unsettling masterpiece. Alright, quick recap. In the world of Severance, there is a surgical process that literally splits your life into two. Your work life, the innie, exists only in the office with no clue about your personal life. Meanwhile, your personal self, the outie, knows nothing about what happens at work. On paper, it's sold as the ultimate work-life balance hack, but in reality, it is a nightmare. The innies are trapped, living in an endless loop of work without rest or context for their existence. The outies live their lives blissfully unaware of the burdens their other half endures. It's a setup that raises massive ethical and emotional questions. Severance becomes a tool of control, exploiting identity and creating a chilling commentary on modern work culture. So let's talk about identity. At its core, identity is how we understand ourselves. It's shaped by our memories, experiences, values, and the choices we make. It's not just about who we are, but also about how we see the world and our place in it. Identity gives us a sense of continuity and helps us navigate life. But here's the kicker. Severance throws that idea into complete chaos. The innie-outie divide splits people into two distinct identities, each missing a crucial piece of the puzzle. The innies have no memory of who they are outside of work, while the outies remain oblivious to the work life. It's like taking a book and ripping out half the pages. How can you make sense of the story without all the pieces? Psychologically, this split mirrors a phenomenon called disassociation. Disassociation happens when someone disconnects from their thoughts, feelings, and memories, often as a way to cope with trauma. It's a survival mechanism, a way for the mind to shield itself from overwhelming pain. Take Mark, for instance. His outie chooses Severance because he can't bear the grief of losing his wife. Severance lets him escape that pain, but it also traps his innie in a world of perpetual confusion and sadness, with no context of why he feels that way. Similarly, we meet the senator's wife later in the season, who undergoes severance to avoid remembering trauma of childbirth. On the surface, these choices might seem like a relief, but they come with a steep emotional cost. For the innies, disassociation isn't just a coping mechanism, it's their entire existence. They live without the memories and experiences that give life meaning, leaving them emotionally fragmented and disconnected from themselves. And this isn't just science fiction. Disassociation happens in real life too. People who experience severe trauma like abuse, accidents, or loss often disassociate as a way to protect themselves in that moment. It's like the brain hits the pause button on processing emotions to help you survive. For example, someone might disassociate during a car accident, feeling like they're watching it happen outside of their body. Or a person who endures childhood trauma might block out entire memories to shield themselves from the pain. These are real-life parallels to what the innies experience every day. But here's the thing. While disassociation can be a helpful short-term response, it is not a long-term solution. Over time, unresolved trauma and fragmented memories can lead to feelings of sadness, anxiety, and a weakened sense of self. The same way the innies struggle to understand their place in the world, people dealing with disassociation in real life often feel lost and incomplete. So what's the emotional toll of all this? For the characters in Severance, the split leaves them in a constant state of disconnection. The innies in particular are stuck in a cycle of confusion and emotional pain. They feel things deeply, anger, sadness, even hope, but without any understanding of where those feelings come from. For Mark's innie, this manifests as a low-level sadness and unease that he can't explain. Helly's emotions swing from defiance to despair as she realizes the depth of her imprisonment. And Irving clings to the company handbook, using it as an anchor in an otherwise meaningless existence. These are characters who are deeply human but trapped in circumstances that strip away their humanity. In the real world, people dealing with identity fragmentation or disassociation face similar challenges. They might struggle with mood disorders, feelings of isolation, or difficulty trusting others. The longer these issues go unaddressed, the harder it becomes to rebuild a sense of self. The big question is, can identity be reclaimed? For the characters in Severance, the answer seems to lie in awareness and connection. Mark's journey is a powerful example of this. As innie starts to question the system and form bonds with coworkers, he begins to piece together a sense of agency. In the real world, the process of reclaiming identity after trauma involves similar steps. It starts with acknowledging the pain and the ways that it has shaped you. Therapy, support from loved ones, and self-reflection can help rebuild a sense of self. The key is to reconnect with the parts of yourself that feel lost and finding meaning in your existence, even the painful ones. At its heart, Severance challenges us to think about what makes us who we are. Is it our memories, our choices, the connections we form with others? The show's brilliance lies in how it takes these big questions and makes them deeply personal. Watching the characters grapple with their fragmented identities reminds us of our own struggles with self-discovery and the importance of staying connected to who we are. So whether it's Mark's quiet rebellion, Helly's fiery defiance, or Irving's longing for connection, each character's journey teaches us something about the resilience of the human spirit. Identity might be fragile, but it's also something we can reclaim, piece by piece. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into the psychological themes of Severance. We've covered a lot today, but there's still so much to explore. Let me know in the comments if there's a specific theme you'd like me to tackle next. As always, take care of yourselves and remember, you're more than the sum of your parts.